There's a kind of person who has been through things most people wouldn't understand. Things they never asked for. Loss, betrayal, hard seasons that seem to stretch on forever. And somewhere along the way, people may have told them they were too sensitive, too serious, or maybe even too much. But here's what those people didn't see, and what psychology is only beginning to fully understand. Going through too much doesn't just leave scars. It builds something rare inside you, something most people spend their whole lives searching for and never quite find. If you're someone who has weathered storms that broke you and somehow kept going, this video is for you. Because today we're going to talk about the 5 rare traits that quietly develop in people who have endured more than their share. Not to celebrate suffering, but to help you finally see yourself clearly. Trait number 1. You have an emotional depth that most people simply don't possess. When life forces you to sit with pain, real, sustained, difficult pain, it does something unusual to your emotional world. It expands it. Psychology shows that individuals who experience significant adversity often develop what researchers call emotional complexity, the ability to hold multiple, even contradictory feelings at once without being overwhelmed by them. You can feel grateful and heartbroken at the same time. You can love someone and still recognize they weren't good for you. You can be tired and still find something worth smiling about in the same afternoon. Most people find this level of emotional nuance uncomfortable. They prefer things to be simple, good or bad, happy or sad. But you've lived in the in-between long enough that it no longer scares you. And that depth, it makes you one of the most genuine people in any room. People feel seen around you because you actually see them, not the surface version, the real one. Trait number 2. You have a resilience that isn't loud, but it's unshakable. There's a version of resilience that looks like confidence in speeches and motivational energy. And then there's your kind, the quiet kind. The kind that just keeps moving, even when there's no applause, no one watching, no guarantee it gets better. Research indicates that people who have experienced repeated hardship often develop what psychologists call post-traumatic growth, a genuine strengthening of character that emerges not despite difficulty, but through it. Think about what you've already survived. There were days you didn't think you'd get through. And yet here you are, still watching, still searching, still trying to understand yourself better. That's not nothing. That's extraordinary. Your resilience doesn't need to announce itself. It's woven into how you show up every single day in small and steady ways that most people around you probably take for granted, but deep down, they rely on. Trait number 3. You can read people in ways that feel almost instinctive. People who have gone through too much, especially early in life, often develop a finely tuned ability to read the room, to sense shifts in someone's mood, to notice what isn't being said. Psychology refers to this as heightened social perception, and it tends to be strongest in people who grew up needing to anticipate the emotions of others as a form of self-protection. You likely notice when a friend is pretending to be fine. You pick up on the subtle tension in someone's voice, even when their words say everything is okay. You can walk into a space and immediately feel whether the energy is safe or not. Now, this trait sometimes comes with a cost. You absorb other people's emotions more than most, and that can be exhausting. But it also means you are deeply intuitive, often wiser than what your age or experience should logically explain. People trust you, often before they even know why. And that trust is earned because you've actually paid attention in ways others simply haven't. Trait number 4. You have a compassion that comes from a place of genuine understanding. There's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy says, "I'm sorry that happened to you." Empathy says, "I know what it feels like to be where you are." You live in empathy. Not as a performance, not because someone taught you to be kind, but because you have actually been in the dark places. You know what it feels like to need someone and find no one there. You know the weight of carrying things alone.
Research in psychology consistently shows that people who have faced significant hardship report higher levels of compassionate behavior toward others, not because they are naive about the world, but precisely because they are not. Your compassion is not weakness, it's the most sophisticated emotional intelligence there is. It costs you something to care the way you do, and you do it anyway. That is a rare and powerful thing. Trait number 5. You have a clarity about what actually matters. When you've lost things, real things, people, time, versions of yourself you can never get back, the trivial stops mattering in the same way. Psychology shows that people who have navigated genuine hardship often undergo a process of values clarification, a natural shedding of the things they were taught to want in favor of the things they actually need. You probably care less about impressing people than most. You have a lower tolerance for shallow relationships, for small talk that goes nowhere, for spending your energy on things that don't feel real. Some people mistake this for being antisocial or cold, but it's the opposite. You simply know the difference between what is worth your time and what isn't, because you've paid too high a price not to know. That kind of clarity is something people spend decades in therapy trying to find, and you carry it naturally. So, if you've been through too much, if your story has chapters that were heavier than anything you were prepared for, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not damaged. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are someone who has been quietly building one of the rarest combinations of traits a person can have: depth, resilience, perception, compassion, and clarity. Not everyone gets there. Most people don't. The world often celebrates the people who had it easy, but the people who quietly changed everything, in their families, in their friendships, in their communities, were almost always the ones who had been through something first. You are more than your hardest seasons, and those seasons made you more than you know. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing. Every week we explore the hidden psychology behind the ways you think, feel, and move through the world, because understanding yourself is one of the most powerful things you can do, and you deserve to understand just how rare you really are.